Hi, I'm Katie, host of Focus and Flourish podcast. I used to grind nonstop until I figured out how to automate my systems that ended up helping me achieve a 4-day work week. Now I earn more and work less. Want to do the same? Grab my free 6-figure strategy guide, which is the exact blueprint I used to grow my own business to where I am today. Link in the show notes. Are you new here? Tap subscribe to support the show and never miss an episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Focus and Flourish, where we talk about systems, strategy, and self-care. Today, I have Amy Pearson on our podcast because she does systems for creatives. So she's a system strategist and she's certified in Dubsado. She helps all types of photographers and creatives provide streamlined experiences to their clients. Essentially, after that process, Amy helps creatives work less, reclaim their work-life balance, and really enjoy running their business. So today we're talking about staying in your zone of genius and mitigating repetitive tasks that are draining your time and draining your energy and inadvertently probably draining your profitability. So Amy used to be in HR. She had a whole corporate life before this, and she realized, I want to help people create thoughtful, automated workflows and, eliminate that copy paste chaos that we all know so well with our inboxes. So I found Amy and absolutely just knew we were the right fit. So Amy and I have also worked together for many, many, many years. And during this episode, what's really valuable is we can reference obstacles that we went through, triumphs we had, the amount of hours I began saving working with Amy. But what we really want to do is educate everybody here on what's possible and debunk the myths around automation. Right? So basically, welcome, Amy. She basically specializes in building strategic CRM systems and workflows that can handle lead captures, proposals, pricing, onboarding, reminders, even personal reminders for yourself, follow-up emails, review requests, even capture forms as you build your team, and the list goes on. So this is all about not losing your personal touch and your brand identity through the process as well. So basically, let's talk about how to stop running your business from your inbox and reclaim at least 10 hours a week. Okay, so moving on, Amy, hi. I'm so happy to see you.
I'm so excited to be here. I know we
Is there anything I forgot?
No, I mean, you totally covered all of it. And I can't believe we've been working together so long. I feel like it was only yesterday when you reached out to me to help you. And it was amazing how all of that helped you. You're the first person I've actually seen who did the time tracking and was like, this saved me 20 hours a week. And I think my mind was blown, and I know yours was too.
Yes, I will go deeply into that. So before we dive in, everybody, so Amy does have an incredible resource. It's called Map Your Client Experience in 30 Minutes. And a big point of confusion for photographers and creatives is how workflows work, right? So one of the first steps is mapping your client experience. What happens from when they inquire all the way until you've worked with them and a year after the shoot or the product you delivered, right? That is a workflow. So that will be in the show notes. And I'm actually just going to dive in and get as much juicy content from Amy as possible and try to bring this to all of you in bite-sized pieces that are digestible. So Amy, okay. So I would love to hear what the 3 systems that every photographer or creative should have in place to reduce admin work in their business.
Well, I think the very first thing people need to have in place for systems is a lead capture system where people can opt in to work with you, whether that's filling out a form or booking a consultation, however you want to start that process. but they can easily say, yes, I want to work with you, and get an immediate response back, because a lot of wedding couples are expecting a response, or people in general, inquiries. I shouldn't just say wedding couples, but people who inquire are expecting a response within 24 hours or less. And if you're not just right on it, they might have sent inquiries to several people. And what I've seen is the person who responds the fastest is the one who gets the booking, maybe not always the one whose photos they fell in love with.
I couldn't agree more. Actually, our team has a 2-hour rule for leads. I have everything set up in a way where I literally make it a personal, I just change one sentence and boom, there we go. And that is more about us. And then their call to action is to book a call. So I couldn't agree more, especially in today's economy and market. Like, it just has to be streamlined. So lead captures is one system. And would you just give a one-liner on what a lead capture is for people who may not know?
Sure. It's a form that captures the information that people put into it. So their name, their email, and probably some information about what they're looking to accomplish by working with you. So what type of photography they're interested in, and anything that would help you better understand the person that's reaching out to you and start to build that relationship with them.
And the key of that is that the lead capture form on your website is connected to your client relationship management system. So everything is in one place and you're no longer searching, right? So everything is automated. You know exactly who inquired and what journey they're going to go through, right?
Right. And what a lot of people do in the beginning is use their website lead capture form. And that's not connected to a CRM. You're having to go into whatever Wix, Squarespace, wherever your website is, and go looking for these inquiries. And I swear they must vanish into hyperspace or something, because when I put inquiries in people's websites, I very rarely get a response. So
totally. And with that said, a lot of them are linked to people's inbox, and then again, wasting your time writing a email instead of having everything in line. So number one is lead capture forms, where your website connects to your CRM, being Dubsado, Honeybook, whatever you use. What's the second system every photographer or creative should have in place?
Well, I'm definitely going to go with booking system. And so in your CRM, that looks like a proposal template that has your pricing packages in it. It maybe has the add-ons so people can pick add-ons and add them right in right there. I love to connect the contract to that inside of both Dubsado and Honeybook. Do this beautifully, that you can have it go right to the contract once they click what they want and sign the contract digitally and pay the invoice.
So easy.
5 minutes. They can book in 5 minutes if they really want to.
And it can be while you're asleep.
I love that.
I know.
That's my favorite, waking up to finding that.
So then what's the third system that's just critical?
You know, I have to say, for photographers especially, I think the onboarding and kind of the chunk between delivery and onboarding and up to delivery, because a lot of people ghost their clients after they book.
Yeah,
and I think there's
absolutely.
a huge opportunity to build an incredible client experience there by thinking through what you want your clients to know based on the type of photography that you're giving them. There's, guides for what to wear, or accessories for photographs, or different things. I know, Katie, you have an amazing wedding process that you have, and also your brand photography email series that you send out to people ahead of their branding sessions is so awesome. And
it's because of Dubsado. So I would love to piggyback on that. When you onboard a client, there are a few time suckers. And the first one is like getting the contract out and signed and just making sure your retainer is paid. So first of all, in my experience, to share with our audience, it's like, I have not reminded someone to pay me for so many years. It's just not a thing anymore. We accept all forms of payment. They're automated reminders. They're very gentle. They're very Katie, but they're all
Hmm.
there, as well as the contract. If people have questions with the contract, I obviously reply. I do asterisks in my contract to further explain certain things so I don't have to reply as much. And
Love
then with onboarding, I think something to remember as a photographer or a creative, like a graphic designer, a web designer. So someone just paid you a chunk of money. What is your responsibility to help them feel secure in their investment? And
Mhm.
honestly, that is the client experience that you need to create. And it will make you insane to do all of this manually. So, what I encourage our listeners to think about are what are the next steps? And if there aren't any, because it's 18 months away or whatever, paint the picture for them, give them the roadmap. Say, I'm so excited right now. Everything is triggered based on the project date. So if it's really far out, you can say, I'm going to be in touch at the 8-month mark and we'll get our Zoom scheduled. And in the meantime, here's some sample mood boards and XYZ. So when I talk about this a lot in my course, but evergreen resources are things that don't have to be modified for that niche. So examples being a pre-shoot guidance template for brand clients where I know that all of my referrals are in there and then they immediately feel supported and cared for and nurtured. That's one example. For weddings, 6 tips for an epic and authentic engagement session, a link to your reviews. Why not? Get them feeling extra secure, really nurturing them, style
Mhm.
guides, posing guides, reassurance. Because at the end of the day, all of this does not have to be on the phone. It can be woven into these little check ins with your clients where they feel at ease when they finally meet you. So that's the onboarding experience, right? It's not just
Right.
reminding them they have a shoot, it's
No,
supporting
absolutely not.
them. Yeah.
It's supporting them. And I know I had a brand shoot with a friend of mine, and she had a really dialed in process. But as she was sending me these things, I was like, you really need to have more of a guide. You need to show people, give them ideas, help them out. Like maybe it's just me, but I'm terrible at picking outfits for shoots. So like
Yeah.
having that sent to me and be like, here's some great pieces that are perfect for a brand shoot,
Yeah.
or here's my favorite hair and makeup people that can help you get the look that you want if that's not something included in your shoots. Those things were huge and
Guys,
just feel
yes.
so much better in front of the camera on that day. Or a posing guide, like a here are some great poses you can practice or get comfortable sort of doing these really awkward poses.
No, totally. And everyone has their own style and
Mhm.
everyone has their own brand. But I will say your client experience is everything. And the only reason that I'm able to take on more work and do what I love doing, which is shooting and being engaged with people, is because my CRM is running so much of my business. So instead of overwhelming our clients, for example, after they book, they get a full template that's already embedded into a Google folder. And I don't overwhelm them. I just say, this is going to be sort of our holy grail. Like everything will be here, links to this, that, and the other thing. And then I slowly nurture them for about 2 weeks, how to make a mood board, what to start thinking about. And then they
Mhm.
get a link with posing ideas, outfit inspiration for each. And again, I've been doing this a long time. This all took me years to create, but a outfit inspiration board for each season and niche. So they're really like, they have visuals to explore. They're like, okay, this is what's possible. This isn't just headshots. And the
Mhm.
same goes for weddings. So I think that Amy is absolutely right here. You're on, other than the actual lead capture, which is critical, I also agree. I think that the onboarding is the most important part of the process up to shoot date, all the way to like 2 days after your shoot, just saying what the next steps are and what to expect. Or you're going to be having hundreds of people emailing you, when am I getting my photos, this, that, and the other thing. quick thank you. Hi, everybody. We're in our busy season. We'll have sneak peeks to you within 2 weeks. Well, like
Yeah, I
it can be
love
so
setting the
easy.
expectation. It really
Yeah.
does save you so many emails.
So, what I really want to do on this call is pick your brain because you are so incredible at doing this. So, where should someone start if they feel like their back end processes are like messy and overwhelming and they are even overwhelmed to reach out to you, for example? Like they just don't know what to do. What do you recommend they do if they feel that way?
Well, I think I would sit down and just write out, maybe in a Google Doc, or I had somebody do a whole wall of sticky notes of, writing down the steps in the process and rearranging them and adding notes to them and just kind of getting it all sort of in order. It makes so much more sense when you can see it in front of you. And I would just go, okay, someone opts in. And then what happens? Well, I want them to get an email that tells them how excited I am to work with them and that I'm checking my calendar and I'm going to be back in touch with them in a couple of days. In the meantime, here's this resource or something like that. Okay, then what happens? Okay, well, I want to
100%.
tell them that I'm available and send them over a consultation booking scheduler. Okay, and then what happens? And you don't have to know exactly how to automate it, but if you just write down that these are the steps.
Are
Then
these some
you
of the
can
things that people can find in the client journey map you offer?
Yeah, we
Okay,
will walk
amazing.
through that right step by step in that process. And it actually
Perfect.
has a workbook that they can make notes and kind
Okay.
of as they're walking through it. So,
That is an incredible resource. So that'll be in the show notes. And I really encourage everyone to just go to it just to explore. And I want to share a hack for people that feel overwhelmed. So, something I've learned in the past 5 years as we've been growing my course and membership Momentum Method is everyone's different, right? So we have auditory learners, we've got visual learners, we have all types of communicators. So some people might get overwhelmed by writing things down by hand. Some people don't even have Google Workspace, right? So I want to give a quick hack. If you have a phone, which I'm sure you do, open up your iPhone notes and use speech to text and talk out your client journey first. And that way you can transfer it over to a Google Doc and start organizing it. But if your stream of thoughts feel too overwhelming to write, just talk about it because at least you have a base and it allows you not to get stuck. So if I'm having a very overwhelming day or trying to come up with a really awesome podcast or whatever, and I'm overwhelmed with the screen, I take a walk in our beautiful neighborhood and I talk to myself and I record it. And then you have tools like ChatGPT or whatever to transcribe it to text. So if you are struggling with where to start, the first place is downloading Amy's client journey map. Step 2 is knowing that you can just talk to text. You can talk into your iPhone notes. You can download a widget and speak into Google Docs directly. Just wanted to cover that because I've been using that tool a lot lately in a season of very young children and overwhelm. So that is an amazing thing. So Amy, you're saying just get it down somewhere, get it on paper, get it on Post-its, get it on a Google Doc or a recording. Perfect.
yeah, I love
Okay.
the recording because voice to text will put it right into text in a note for you too. So you don't even
Exactly.
have to get
I do it all the time. Okay. So I'm very curious about this actually. What are some of the most common workflow gaps you see when someone comes to you that already has a CRM, like they think they have it set up properly? What are some of the most common workflow gaps that you see when you're auditing it?
There are a few of them. I see people not using payment plans, and
Oh,
that one is a big one because, like, if you don't manually send those payment reminders, you're potentially walking into a shoot and not having that payment paid. So I think that's a big one. A lot of people try to automate things that should be appointment reminders, and they try to put that. It's not a gap, but they'll try to build that into a workflow instead of letting the scheduler handle the pre-session emails. And those can be sent by the scheduler. So much easier.
Yes. They're a separate, so let's pause and explain that because you have your workflow. I know, you're so good at this. You have your workflow, which is your client journey, and then your scheduler, and you're going to have schedulers linked into your workflows. So for example, I've got a 60-minute scheduler for wedding clients that have already booked where we're really diving deep. I've got a 15-minute free clarity call that's for coaching where I don't want it to be 60 minutes. But what I think Amy's saying is that they're two separate entities within a CRM, and you just want those reminders to go out with the call booking so that everything is super clean.
Right. And if someone cancels or reschedules it, it's not monkey messing up your automation.
Right.
Because now your automation is like, I thought it was this day.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that differentiating between the scheduler and the workflow gives the business owner more control as well. Because if someone cancels last minute via email to me, I respond back and I say, please, you will receive an automated reminder from me. Please cancel or reschedule from that email, knowing in my brain that's all pushing through to Dubsado and we're good, keeping our calendar clean.
That is a good point. I need to do that myself more because people will send me emails and I'm like, oh no, I forgot to go cancel it. So
I never, ever rely on doing anything myself anymore. I'm too sleep deprived with my 2-year-old son right now. So here we go. Now, I am also really curious I want to have a takeaway for our audience today where they're like, I can do this today. So something everyone can do today is at least start mapping their client journey, which is amazing. And then the other thing that I want to ask you is, what is one simple workflow change that photographers can do right now that's going to free up time for them in the coming weeks?
Well, the one I always say, and maybe this isn't what you're looking for, is put in an automatic email that follows up with leads.
Amen.
Even if it's not customized, even if it's a lot of people feel guilty or like it's going to be robotic, or I didn't write this email custom for this client and I want to have that high touch experience. But if your client's waiting like 24, 48, 36, I can't do math, days to get a response from you, which during wedding season, I know I've heard people sometimes say a week that it takes them to follow up with clients.
No. Oh, no, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no. So I'm just saying, like, write that email once, put the intention into it, make it everything that you ever wanted to tell people in an inquiry follow-up, and automate that sucker. Even if you follow up later and you write a custom email.
Right.
You had that email go out and give them a next step and keep them interested in working with you and keep them engaged. Even if it's not, I know you personally like to put that sentence in there to customize yours, but if you're just like, I am too busy to do that and I don't have the bandwidth right now, just automate that immediate email.
I would love to piggyback on this. Yes, I want to piggyback on this and explain to everybody that there are two ways a lead capture form comes in. You can have that automated email go out right away, or you can set a reminder that notifies you to push that email out, which is how I do it. But I have found most of my inquiries come through on Saturdays and Sundays, which are insane family days for me at the beach, at the park, with young kids. So more than ever, Amy, I have actually just pushed it through. And that's how we get back to our inquiries within 120 minutes. And so, yes, 95% of the time, I add in something about them, their venue, their whatever. And then 5% of the time on Saturdays and Sundays, I don't. And it really helps because they've already started their client journey, right?
Right.
So
And I'm
it's
sure
a
you have
really,
that email written so that it can go out without having the extra sentence in
it's
there.
1000% Katie. It's just so welcoming and warming. And it's really actually quite short, and it just gives them a next step. They've already filled out the questionnaire. I have a pretty long questionnaire so that I can keep sales calls to 20 minutes. But I've got a ton of info on them. So I welcome them. I get excited with them. I, in 3 sentences, explain our main goals in the business, that it's to guide them, help them feel supported, and just have the experience be wonderful, and that I want to learn more. Boom, the CTA is a link to book a call. And then at the end of the email, I actually have 7 links all linked into that first email because I want them to keep going, right?
Go
There's
down
a
the
bunch of,
rabbit hole.
yeah, like there's a bunch of supportive blog posts, there's downloads, there's this, but those are evergreen because when your workflows are organized by the niches that you shoot or what you do, you know that you're bringing expert value to that client no matter what through those resources. Like for example, what bride is not going to want to read about how to make the engagement shoot incredible? What entrepreneur is not going to want to read 22 things to support you the week before your branding session? These are just evergreen blog posts. So I don't want our audience here to feel overwhelmed. What it does is simplify your life and massively enhances the client experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Amy, for people that do not have a CRM, who are either newer or they're not newer and they're kind of drowning and they don't, what is your recommendation? So can people book a call? Do you do a free consultation?
Yes, I absolutely do. And I definitely recommend people grab that free consultation and we can talk through what they're looking
All
for
of
in
this.
CRM
Okay.
ahead of even doing anything. So
Amazing.
they don't have
So-
to know what they want or know if Dubsado or Honeybook's the right fit. Like we
Right.
can talk through that.
Absolutely. Okay. So what's so great, everybody, is that there are 2 action items you can take today. You can start looking through the client journey resource from Amy, and that'll be educational if you don't know what it is, or just supportive in getting started. You know that you can do talk to text. You don't have to be super, completely at your desk to start this process. You might just need to walk around and think about it and talk to your phone. And then
And you
number
don't even
3,
have to know everything.
no, that's absolutely.
Because I walk you through the whole process and I help you find things to
And
and
even
improve
just
it.
booking a clarity call for all of the contractors in my company that I have ended up hiring and retaining, it all started with a 30-minute free clarity call because you can learn so much in that time. And then you get to make the decision, do I really want to do this all alone or do I want a partner in crime to go through this process with, So all of these resources are going to be in the show notes. And the good news is Amy will be back on the podcast. So we're going to start diving into workflows a little bit deeper. And the next episode that we do together, we will do a screen share for our YouTube audience to actually show you guys how this looks to be a little less intimidating and show you how much control you actually have with automation. So Amy, I just appreciate you. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Katie. I really appreciate
Yeah.
the opportunity to be here and get to chat with you. We have been trying to get together and chat for a long time.
Well, thank you so much. And I will have this live soon, everybody. And take care.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share it on your favorite social media platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Your share can help someone improve their photography business and their life. Use the hashtag Focus and Flourish Podcast so we can see your posts and connect with you there.